All right, what is up, Utah fans? This is Joseph back with the Utah Utes Football Digest, and Utah's non-conference schedule for the 2025 season was just announced. UCLA, Cal Poly, and Wyoming are the matchups we've got. I'm excited to break it down with you. We'll talk about the dates, we'll talk about the matchups, and we'll see kind of how this bodes for Utah, right? This is kind of our ramp up to the season before we get into conference play. Does it give us a nice, good running head start into the season? Will it have us where we need to be when we get into conference play? I'm excited to break it down. I'm excited to talk to you guys about it. Before we dive into it, smash that like button. That's going to help get the video out to more Utah fans. Also, comment down below, what do you guys think about the matchup? Do you guys like the non-conference schedule? Do you think it's too soft, too hard, right where it needs to be? I want to hear what you guys are thinking. Also, the show is a part of the 1012 Network. The 1012 Network is sponsored by Charlie Hustle. Go to charliehustle.com. They're vintage made fresh, great clothes. Use code 101215 at checkout for 15% off any non-sale items. Seriously, great stuff, guys. I love sporting their gear. It's some of the nicest clothes I have. Real simple, real casual, but very nice. Again, use code 101215 at charliehustle.com for 15% off any non-sale items. Let's go ahead and dive in, check out the non-conference schedule. All right, crew. And the first team Utah is going to be going against next year is going to be UCLA. The UCLA Bruins went 5-7 in 2024. That is in the Big Ten, right? So 5-7 in the Big Ten. You know, not the worst record in the world considering the toughness of the conference. If you guys aren't aware, the Big Ten's one of the two major conferences in college football. It's the Big Ten and the SEC. I do think it was a little bit of a down year for the Big Ten, but at the same time, that's more looking at the high end, right? Ohio State and Michigan weren't as good this year as they are other years, but I'd still say you look at the whole conference. Indiana was very good. Penn State was very good. Oregon was elite. And you could make the argument Penn State was elite, right? So there were some very good teams in the Big Ten, very good conference. And I'd say Utah went 5-7 in the Big 12, and it's not as tough of a conference. But you look a little deeper, Utah's 5-7 was due to a ton of uncontrollable events where UCLA had more of a true 5-7, their talent, their coaching compared to the other team's talent and coaching. And, they're not a terrible team. And if you guys remember, they're a previous Pac-12 foe, and they gave us a lot of troubles, especially in 2021 and 2022 when we were on our big runs and looking awesome. They kind of, put a stop to those runs, or at least put a dent in the armor when we played them. And they are a tough team, right? They are a team that brings it. It'll be a little different coaching than what we were used to, but still a 5-7 team that I'd say has a ton of talent, right? They're a school that recruits well. Doing a bit of a deeper dive, they threw for 2,900 yards last year. The average QBR, let's get a look at that. So Ethan Garbers was their quarterback. He was a senior, so he's probably not the guy going into next year. At least I don't believe so. So hard to know exactly what we'll be looking at for quarterback. They averaged 3.1 yards a carry running the ball. That is including quarterback and wide receiver runs. Among their top three total yards running backs, they averaged 4.1 yards per carry, 3.8 yards per carry, and 3.7 yards per carry. I just point that out because if there is a consistent weakness to our defense, I would say it's teams that are good at running the ball. So I'd say we match up well against them just at face value, but just being honest, you don't know this early in the year, right? You really don't know, right? They have a whole transfer portal and a bunch of time to add players in. So we don't know what we'll be looking at, but I'd say UCLA, not an easy game. 5-7 Big Ten team though, so they'll have a lot of talent. Should be. I don't love how early it is. I don't love that it's week 1, August 30th. So a bit of a tough challenge right out the gate, but we should be able to win it, come out unscathed, and I really like what we're seeing here. We should hopefully leave this game 1-0 headed into week 2. Okay, guys, next game is going to be Utah against Cal Poly. That's going to be September 6th, and this one is at Rice Eccles. I'm not going to dive too much into this one, guys. This should be a pretty dominant win. Cal Poly is not only an FCS opponent, but they also finished 3-8 this year. This should clearly be a dominant win. Fun side note: Donovan Saunders, the guy we just picked up yesterday he spent 2 years at Cal Poly before transferring to Texas A&M. So should be a big win for Utah. Not a ton to talk about here. We should dominate them at home, and we'll already hopefully have the win against a decent UCLA team. And then we'll get in the ball rolling here, get the win at home, Rice Eccles, keep the fans happy, 2-0 as we leave that. Not much to touch on here, guys. Cal Poly 3-8 FCS to be a real problem if we don't, get a big win here. So okay, guys, and final game of the non-conference schedule. It's going to be at Wyoming, at Laramie, Wyoming. So we're heading into their arena to take them on. And, Wyoming actually has a pretty good home field advantage where people come in there, that crowd gets loud, they get rowdy, they get wild. A couple notes about this game. One that sticks out to me is that Devin Dampier and Jason Beck, our offensive coordinator and quarterback, one of their losses last year was to Wyoming. Wyoming was only a 3-9 team, and that New Mexico offense put up a ton of points on them, but the New Mexico's defense was so bad that they let up 49 points to Wyoming, and Wyoming was able to win the game. So, little side note there, where I'm sure Devin Dampier and Jason Beck are going to be hungry to get a nice win. Now, diving a little deeper, Wyoming 3-9 record last year, 10th team in the Mountain West. Look, that's a pretty poor record. I did mention they have a good home field advantage, but we should have a significant skill gap even when the transfer portal's over between us and Wyoming. They're a G5 team, and they were really struggling last year with a 3-9 record. Good home field advantage for Wyoming, but we should go in there, we should lay the wood, and we should show them what's up. Just to give you guys a little bit of an idea of what type of football Wyoming plays. They only threw for 2,273 yards this year. They ran for 1,600. So overall, just not a lot of yards for Wyoming. Between their top three running backs, they averaged 4.7, 5.1, and 4 yards a carry. So a decent rushing team. But if that's their approach to the pass game, they're only throwing for a little over 2,000 yards, so 2,200 yards. We should be able to load that box, shut down the run. And as long as our offense does, even close to what we expect, we should have a dominant win here when we play Wyoming, guys. So that's the full schedule there for non-conference. I think the big exciting game is UCLA. Wyoming should put up a bit of a challenge. Cal Poly should be a blowout. I want to hear what you guys are thinking. Smash the like button. That's going to help get it out to more Utah fans. Also, comment down below. Are you guys nervous about any of these games? What do you think? Is this a great launching pad to success in conference play? Do you think it's too easy, too hard, right where it needs to be? I want to hear what you're thinking. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, guys. I'm out of here. Go Utes.